You are Locked On Nuggets POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, how about that? What is up, Nuggets Nation? The Denver Nuggets. Another sweaty victory. That's now a couple wins in a row for the good guys as they take down the Toronto Raptors for the second time. And I want to say a week. Was that last Monday when they played in Toronto? Feels like forever ago with everything that's happened since, but it is a 121-119 victory for the Denver Nuggets in a relatively unconventional way. No Aaron Gordon. He left the game early. No Jamal Murray. Jokic was, Jokic triple-double, nothing too shabby with the Joker. MPJ was MPJ. But the role players, the young guys, Julian Strawther, Christian Braun, Peyton Watson, all stepping up for the Denver Nuggets in their victory tonight. Again, your final score, 121-119. I am your host, Aniello Piro. This is your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Hope everyone is doing well out there as the Denver Nuggets rally from behind. They're down double digits in the fourth quarter to secure this victory, minus a couple of their starters here tonight. Do me a favor, guys. Make sure to follow me on social media at Media by AP. And subscribe to your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. That way you guys never, ever miss a live episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast hosted by yours truly. And also drop me a like on the video if you're feeling so kind. It's a thrill to be here with you guys tonight. Daylight savings feels like it's almost midnight, but it's only 10:45. So thankfully, we've got some energy from that game as the Denver Nuggets secure that dub. And I tweeted it out on my is it even called a tweet anymore? I still call it Twitter, whatever you want to call it, X. As soon as the game ended, you know that Calvin Booth was sitting up in the rafters or wherever he sits during the games with his arms crossed. You ever play Mortal Kombat? And I think it's I forget the character's name in Mortal Kombat, but there's one of the characters that like when you win the fight or whatever, he like he sparks the cigar. Calvin Booth probably feeling pretty validated tonight as the youngsters were the key component, the secret sauce, I would say, for the Nuggets victory here tonight. Making some key plays there down the stretch. Christian Braun, I'm going to lump him in with the youngsters just because he's still, in his early to mid 20s. How old is CB? 24 maybe, I want to say. Let's look that up here real quick. But I feel like Christian Braun gets a little bit of a different, he's 23 years old. So Christian Braun is definitely still a youngster. But I think you've kind of come to expect this type of stuff from Christian Braun just because of all the young guys on the roster. He played meaningful minutes in the championship season, played meaningful minutes last year, all throughout the offseason, although they didn't really say anything until the first game of the year, was expected to kind of take that role of KCP into the starting lineup. So you check the box off for Christian Braun. But I thought Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther, the two guys that the Nuggets are going to need to step up on a consistent basis if they want to be competitive this season. They did just that as they help lead the Denver Nuggets to a victory. So let's go over some statistics here. We'll start with the young guys because, like I said, they made a tremendous impact on this game. We'll start with Julian Strawther, who had 13 points tonight off the bench, had a pretty bad first half, but really clutched up late there. 13 points, a block, 1 steal, 3 assists, and a couple of rebounds for Julian Strawther, but 2 of 4 from 3. So 50% tonight on his limited looks from beyond the arc was Julian Strawther, 4 of 10 from the field. And, I'll kind of summarize this in a minute after I get through some of the stats. The one positive that I think we've seen from this new look Denver Nuggets team is they're very, very aggressive when it comes to playing off ball with Nikola Jokic, cutting to the basket, converting some shots, and I think that's going to be a recipe for success here. I mean, look at the lineup in which the Nuggets closed tonight. I was able to catch the first couple of minutes here of head coach Michael Malone's post-game press conference, and he talked about how he was sitting there, with his arms crossed in typical Michael Malone manner, like we're closing with this lineup. You got Julian Strawther out there, you got Peyton Watson out there, all with Nikola Jokic, Russell Westbrook there at the end. And, Hunter Tyson getting some meaningful minutes there down the stretch. And very unconventional for head coach Michael Malone, but it was not necessarily unconventional tonight because his hand was forced. He was forced to play the young guys tonight just due to the amount of injuries to the starters that Denver's been dealing with. No Jamal Murray for what is that now? 2 consecutive games, right? Because he left early in that game, so I guess 2.5 because he left early against Minnesota. And then didn't play against Utah, obviously, and Aaron Gordon was listed as questionable for that game against Utah. Did put up 30 points in the win, and then, was removed from the game pretty early in this one with a calf injury, so hopefully nothing crazy for Aaron Gordon. But, that creates an opportunity for these young guys. Talked about Julian Strawther, but Peyton Watson tonight, +9 off of the bench. By far his best game of the season. 16 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Watson was in full effect tonight. 3 rebounds, 2 of them on the defensive side of the glass, and 4 of 7 from the field, but he hit a clutch 3-point shot. Michael Porter Jr. had the ball under the basket late in this game, kicked it out to Peyton Watson, who was wide open in the corner, bang. And, that's the type of, look, I saw some tweets going around if you're Toronto, you live with that from Peyton Watson. That's probably the guy that you want taking the corner 3 at that point in the ball game. But, Watson looks like hopefully he's getting better and better as each game progresses, getting his feet under him. I think it was Matt Moore I saw threw out a tweet, host of the Locked On Nuggets podcast, along with my guy, Ryan Blackburn and Swipacam, of course. And, I think it was Matt who put out the tweet talking about how, looks like he's kind of getting his feet under him after he had some injuries throughout preseason, which limited, his ability to kind of get right for the start of the season. So, if you're a regular listener of the postcast, I know there's only been a handful so far throughout this season. We've talked about just how important Peyton Watson's going to be, just how important Julian Strawther is going to be. And look, Hunter Tyson, I know he didn't necessarily light it up today on the scoring perspective. No points at all for Hunter Tyson, but has some confidence in the 1 3-point shot that he took, didn't go in. But, this is a guy that if Jamal might be out for a minute, which I don't think he will be, because it's a concussion as opposed to a lingering injury. He got 15 minutes of run tonight, did Hunter Tyson. Little hot-headed out there, but I like that scrappy energy. So, it's one of those situations where if you are Michael Malone, if you are the Nuggets role players, you're going to have to figure out a way to piece this thing together. And look, it is the Toronto Raptors. I'm not trying to go crazy here. It's a win is a win. A come from behind win is a great win, whichever way you slice it. But it's not like this was against an upper echelon NBA team, although the Raptors are much better this year, I would say, than they were last year. There's some negative tonight, which we'll kind of touch on here lightly. It's a victory show, so we'll try to keep it happy-go-lucky. Michael Porter Jr.'s defense was iffy tonight. Toronto is one of the best transition offenses in the NBA. You saw them burn the Nuggets on a couple of quick possessions throughout the course of the night here. But ultimately, the cream rises to the top. Nikola Jokic did what he had to do, but really it was about the role players. You had a Christian Braun big-time 3-point shot. You had a Peyton Watson big-time corner 3. You had Julian Strawther going to the basket, absorbing contact, making plays, getting to the free throw line. And that's been a big takeaway so far through the first handful of games for the Denver Nuggets, is their ability to get to the free throw line on a consistent basis, which has not normally been the case for this Denver Nuggets team. But tonight, they do a good job of rallying when they needed to, led by those role players. Again, Peyton Watson had a great game. Julian Strawther with a great game. And look, DeAndre Jordan even got some run in there tonight. Only 6 minutes for DJ, but 2 points off the bench, making his presence kind of felt there. Had a block, had 4 rebounds. I like that from Michael Malone, because here's the other thing. DeAndre Jordan and Russell Westbrook, these are 2 guys that have been in and around the league, together for quite some time. Maybe a little bit of chemistry there. Dario Saric did not play tonight. And that's obviously a DNP coach's decision. We know that Saric has been abysmal, for lack of a better phrase, in the run that he has had throughout the course of this season. So I like, Michael Malone going out to DJ for a couple of minutes there. Zeke Naji getting some run. And, 14 minutes tonight for Zeke, only 2 points, but, getting some run, not just absorbing a spot on the bench, and that's the thing. Again, Calvin Booth was smiling somewhere in Ball Arena, I can imagine, because all of his guys, and isn't it interesting, and I know injuries have played a role in this, but isn't it interesting that Zeke Naji is now playing after that ESPN article that came out last Friday, which essentially, he had a nice little chunk paragraph about Zeke Naji in there. And, just food for thought. Food for thought. Maybe there was a conversation had. I don't know if that was the case, but definitely an interesting little tidbit there that Zeke Naji's getting some run. I also think that has to do with the fact that Dario Saric has been borderline unplayable so far throughout the course of the season. But a win is a win, a comeback win at that. You love to see it. And I'm watching the Altitude post-game show here. They've got Julian Strawther and Peyton Watson's faces up on the big screen with all these statistics. Excuse me, a little bit of a tongue twister there. And yeah, Strawther 40% from the field. Watson over 50% from the field. That is a winning formula for the Denver Nuggets. So let's hit our first break. When we come back, we'll continue along with the conversation. Let's talk a little bit about the Joker and his night, starting with the bench unit in a good way. First time I think I've done that this season. I mean, definitely the first time I've done that this season. So hit a break, come back, and talk about the regular stuff. Nikola Jokic doing his thing, Christian Braun doing his thing, as the Nuggets come from behind to beat the Toronto Raptors 121-119. Stick with me, folks. Back in just a minute or two. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at BetterHelp, guys, because you're going to want to listen up. Hold on. Where did this go? Here we go. This month is all about gratitude. And along with the person that I just shouted out, you got a lot of people that have gratitude in your life, your rocks in your family and all that kind of stuff. My mom and my dad, my brother, all my rocks when I'm having a down day. Even my coworkers, man, I can't tell you how many times I'm having a rough day and I'll call up Ryan Blackburn and he'll, perk me right back up. Jeff Morton, my guy, one of the OG Denver Stiffs. These are all people that we lean on throughout the course of our days. And so this month is all about gratitude. And along with the people that I just shouted out, there's another person we don't get to thank enough: ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we are trying to be our best to make sense of everything. And in this crazy world, that is not easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. And guys, you're going to want to check out our friends over at BetterHelp. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. And guys and gals, but therapy is very much a necessary. I don't want to say necessary. Everybody's different, right? But there's no need to be afraid of therapy. I just finished watching The Sopranos, and there was this big stigma in The Sopranos about like, how's Tony Soprano seeing a therapist? Like, how does that add up, right? And therapy is just such a great tool that I feel like, thankfully, is becoming more and more normalized in the society that we're currently living in. Talking with people, getting your emotions out with somebody that understands you and learns you. That's what our friends over at BetterHelp are here to do. Convenient, flexible online therapy at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. You could talk about how the Nuggets make you mad. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Sorry to admit that, but they drive me crazy. When the Mets lost in the playoffs, I was sad. And I know that these are, sports related things, but I'm also talking about real life issues, guys. Anxiety, depression, all that kind of stuff. It plays a role in just about everybody's life in this day and age, whether you know it or not. So be sure to check out our friends at BetterHelp if you're thinking about giving therapy a try. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get 10% off of your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Be sure to check out our friends over at BetterHelp, guys, and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Hope you guys are feeling good out there, man. That was a good win for the Nuggets. I know it was sweaty. That's back-to-back games now against the Toronto Raptors, where RJ Barrett had the weight of the world on his shoulders and had the opportunity to, I think if the Raptor, I forget if that would have sent it to overtime in the first game or if that would have won it for Toronto. Don't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember RJ Barrett taking a ridiculous three at the end of that first game against the Nuggets last week. This was a much more contested shot, went in and out, kind of like Mike Conley in the bubble, if you remember that, for the Utah Jazz. But thankfully for our sake here tonight, it does not fall as the Denver Nuggets get away with a come-from-behind victory 121 to 119, your final score. And Denver, man, they were on a 20-8 run there in the fourth quarter, led by 1 point with 15 seconds left to play before RJ Barrett threw up that would have been a game-winning shot for the Toronto Raptors. They were down 11 late. They battled back. I mean, what more is there to say about this game other than it was a gutsy win again with no Aaron Gordon, with no Jamal Murray. So you love to see it from the young guys stepping up here tonight. But Nikola Jokic doing Jokic things. Excuse me there. He was a -1 in the box plus minus, a rare sighting for the Joker. But he did have a triple-double, 28 points, 14 assists, 14 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. The only thing I think we can complain about tonight with Nikola Jokic is the fact that he had 7 turnovers, which is pretty uncharacteristic for him. He did have a pretty bad turnover there. Peyton Watson late in the game, standing on the baseline, and he kind of tried to go a little Houdini on him and throw him a bullet pass, and just Watson wasn't ready for it. And I understand that you have to be heads up when you're playing with Nikola Jokic because you can get the ball at any given moment. But I thought that was a bad pass from Nikola Jokic. Let me know what you guys think. And but it was just another typical Jokic night, and I'm sure even he was a little bit surprised. Maybe not surprised, but it's just different. It's different when it's not Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, helping you out there, right? I saw the funny meme. I'll pull it up on my phone here if I can real quick. On going around on social media after the game. The old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meme. Or I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on my screen. But anyway, the top picture, is a younger Master Splinter, and it's Jokic with baby Watson, Strawther, Braun, and Tyson, and he's kind of all holding their hand, and he's like taking them, to like just walking and kind of guiding them. And the bottom picture is, an older Master Splinter with Jokic, and then a fully grown set of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In this case, Christian Braun, Hunter Tyson, Peyton Watson, and Julian Strawther. That's what this game felt like tonight, because Jokic was great as always, but they do not win that game with Jokic alone. This was about the role players. This was about the young guys stepping up and providing Nikola Jokic with some extra firepower and some strong defense there at the end of the game to ultimately help push the Nuggets to victory here tonight. But looking at the rest of the starters, Christian Braun, man, he continues to be just dominant in this, or, I don't want to say dominant, but doing a really good job, rather, in kind of filling that KCP role, who's not having a great year so far in Orlando. But CB tonight, +5, 17 points, 4 rebounds, no assists, which is, whatever, 1 steal, but 36 minutes played here tonight for Christian Braun. He was 7 of 11 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, including that absolutely critical 3-point shot that he sank. Obviously, his lone 3-point make of the night, but it counted when it mattered most. And Christian Braun, like I said, has just done a phenomenal job of stepping up into that Denver Nuggets starting lineup and providing just, a different look, right? You want the outside shooting to improve. As I just said, he hits the 3 when you need him to. But, I mean, you can't question Christian Braun's effort. Great on defense, great at getting to the basket, great at finishing through contact. I mean, look at that Rudy Gobert dunk just the other day. What was that, on Friday, I want to say? And, just Christian Braun, doing exactly what the Nuggets have needed him to do. And, you just absolutely love to see it. The rest of the starters tonight were fine. Like I said, Aaron Gordon only played 4 minutes in this game before departing with a calf injury. Michael Porter Jr., I guess, 30% from 3 was 3 for 10. So a bunch of 3-point shots tonight for MPJ. Just under 50% tonight from the field was MPJ, 7 of 16 from the field, 19 points, 9 rebounds, 5 of them defensive, and a couple of assists, including that one absolutely clutch kick out pass to Peyton Watson, who was standing in the corner and knocked down a 3-point shot that if it is not converted, the Nuggets do not go on to win this game. So, it's Michael never swing the rock Porter Jr. Tonight he swung the rock under the basket and hit his guy. Complete confidence in Peyton Watson to knock down that shot, despite some of his troubles with the outside shooting so far this season. So, again, good team basketball tonight. The Nuggets' identity for so long, and I think it's like even Malone had mentioned it, throughout the course of the game, that just because guys like Strawther and Tyson, aren't getting extended run, doesn't mean they're not good enough to play. And Malone even caught himself. He's like, you just can't play 10 or 11 guys on a consistent basis. And then he kind of backtracked and said, well, you can, but we don't, right? Malone is religious with sticking to his rotations, but they found a way. And it's still very early in the season, and reps like this against the Raptors, I don't care who it's against. All this is going to do is help breed confidence in these young guys, which at this point with this roster, whether the Nuggets go out and get Lonnie Walker or not, I know there's some speculation about that he's playing in Europe right now. That is what the Nuggets are going to need if they want to be able to compete for a championship with the roster as is. I haven't even talked about Russell Westbrook tonight. I just realized that he had a great game tonight as well. I'll save that for the third segment. But again, I think tonight was a learning experience in a very positive way because you had your youngsters getting significant minutes in clutch situations in a clutch time game and helping you execute a comeback when you're down 11 points late in the fourth quarter. You can't ask for much more. Calvin Booth will die on this hill that they have to develop these young guys. They've got to figure out a way to draft and develop this talent around Joker as opposed to just, extending guys and getting guys in free agency and all that kind of stuff. He is a big believer on having these youngsters step up, and tonight they did just that. So a validating night for Calvin Booth and all around a good learning experience in a positive way because they get the win for the Denver Nuggets. All right, let's hit our final break. When we come back, let's talk about Mr. Russell Westbrook. I think his best game in a Denver Nuggets uniform here tonight, within spitting distance of a triple-double. He's only one shy of 200 triple-doubles for his career. So we'll hit a quick break, come back, talk a little Russ, a little big picture stuff, and we'll get you guys on your way here on this late night episode of your Locked On Nuggets postcast. Stick with me, folks. Back in just a moment. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place a live bet on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And, I don't know if you guys were on FanDuel tonight. I was looking around. You could have got the Nuggets at a nice little plus number there with about 6-7-ish minutes left in the game. So anybody out there that live bet the Nuggets, I believe they were an 11-point favorite tonight. And I'll say this again, I will continue. Not that I've been doing it, but if I were you, I would fade the Nuggets as a favorite and bet them as a dog, especially if you're getting more than a possession. So, over 3 points. Probably not an awful idea to just take them as a dog either way, but they were laying double digits tonight, I believe. If you made that bet, just hear me out. Don't make that bet anymore this season because I do not trust the Denver Nuggets as a significant favorite. So we'll see how that all kind of shakes out here moving forward. But for anybody that live bet the Nuggets tonight, congratulations. I'm sure you could have got a decent live price on the Chiefs tonight as they come back to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime. And hopefully you're doing all that on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm an active FanDuel user, my personal favorite sportsbook. I know it'll be yours too. And be sure to check out our friends over at FanDuel.com and let them know that Locked On Nuggets sent you. Okay, welcome on back in to your Locked On Nuggets postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. You guys can follow me on Soch at Media by AP. And do me a favor, guys, like this video on YouTube and subscribe to your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. That way you never, ever miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets, Buffs, Broncos, and when we get back to baseball, Rockies postcast, all hosted by yours truly. I seriously love doing these shows, man. So all of your support means the world to me. Before we get out of here, I'm going to talk Russ, but if any of you watching live have any thoughts or comments, what's your biggest takeaway from the game tonight? Feel free to drop those. We can go back and forth here as I get ready to break down Russell Westbrook's performance. And like I said, within spitting distance of a triple-double tonight. The reason I didn't talk about Westbrook is because he was slotted with the starters. So when I was looking at the bench, I didn't see his numbers right away. But 34 minutes tonight for Russ, 21 points. Let's see here. Yeah, 21 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds tonight, 8 of 10 from the charity stripe. And that's a large reason why Denver's been getting to the free throw line is because of the aggression that Russell Westbrook plays with in drawing some of those fouls. 1 of 5 from 3. You want it to be better. it's probably not going to be better with Russell Westbrook. We just kind of know what he is. But he was 6 of 10 from the field tonight. So nice 60% mark tonight from Russ from the field. So you'll love to see that. Denver as a team tonight shot just over 30% from three, 31.3%, and just under 50% from the field at 49.4%. And, one other thing that I did not touch on, it was much like the first game against the Toronto Raptors a week ago. Scotty Barnes leaving that game, I think, ultimately was one of the biggest difference makers that helped push Denver to victory in that one. Jakob Poeltl fouled out tonight for the Toronto Raptors, in the middle of that fourth quarter, which I also think went a long, long, long way in helping Denver establish this comeback, because Jakob Poeltl had the Denver Nuggets defense in shambles tonight. I mean, he had 24 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, a block, and was 11 of 18 from the field. So Jakob Poeltl, was keeping the Nuggets on their heels all throughout the course of the night, but really did a good job there of limiting, for the most part, the rest of the Raptors. Grady Dick had himself a nice game, 24 points. He was a plus 12, 4 of 9 from 3, 10 of 20 from the field as well. Toronto shot 33% from beyond the arc, 13 for 39, and 45% from the field. They cooled off as the game went into crunch time there, which ultimately paid dividends for Denver. But I also think that also has to do with Jakob Poeltl not being in there at the end. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But really not a ton to complain about. I think the one complaint that I would have, or the two complaints rather, that I would have from Denver tonight, is their transition defense was a bit lackadaisical at times. That's definitely something that you want to see them improve on. I thought Michael Porter Jr. had a couple of airhead moments where just wasn't get back on defense, chirping with the ref a little bit, and that led to some quick transition points for Toronto, which is their bread and butter, specifically this year, one of the best, highest-paced teams in transition so far this season. But the other thing, just some sloppy basketball from the Nuggets at times, man. 17 turnovers tonight. That was a total of 17 points conceded off of those turnovers for the Toronto Raptors. And that's not going to fly. 20 fast break points tonight for Toronto as well, and 60 points in the paint. A lot of those were off the floater from Jakob Poeltl. So, room for improvement for sure from Denver on that aspect. They also did a good job of staying physical late. They got into the bonus, were able to slow down the game, get some free throw attempts late there, which ultimately I think plays into Denver's favor, AG and Jamal or not, when you have Nikola Jokic out there, who's the smartest player in the NBA, able to kind of call out some sets and plays of the Raptors. That's only going to help you. So, like I said, my two complaints tonight would be the turnovers and the transition defense tonight. I think those were the two things you want to see Denver try to improve upon. But ultimately, Toronto was up 14 points at one point in this game, and Denver shrinks that and comes back to win 121-119. So love to see it. We'll see how they continue to respond here moving forward, as they got away with one tonight, and I don't think they'll be able to get away with one on Wednesday, because guess who's coming back to town? The Oklahoma City Thunder. And that is going to be a very, very, very interesting game between the Nuggets and the Thunder. An opportunity, I don't want to say a complete revenge spot for Denver, but, bad taste in your mouth with how that opening night game went against the Thunder. I would imagine that Jamal Murray would play in that game. I think that Aaron Gordon is probably questionable. I don't think you need to push AG for a November regular season game, even if it is against the Thunder. But this is going to be an opportunity for Denver to kind of get their get back here and try to win a game at home against a team that straight up just kind of whopped them in that opening night game in the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Denver in the midst of this homestand, man, they started out 2-0, 129-103 over Utah on Saturday, and now 121-119 over the Raptors on Monday. They'll play the Thunder on Wednesday. They'll play the Heat on Friday, and then they'll have a second night of a back-to-back there on Saturday at home against the Dallas Mavericks. So a nice little 5-game homestand, an opportunity for Denver to kind of get right. I don't know if Denver's winning that game against OKC. I'll just come out and say it. I don't know if they're good enough right now, but a win in that game, I think, goes a long way in building some confidence for this team moving forward this season. I think they should be all right against the Heat. And then, the Mavericks, that's going to be an interesting game to see how Denver lines up against them. But all in all, for tonight's show, it is a win, a clutch come-from-behind win as the youngsters shine, and Nikola Jokic has another triple-double. Whew, that was a fun one. All right, I see Julian Strawther's on my TV. I'm going to get out of here so I can listen to what Straw has to say after a good game from him tonight. clutch shooting from all the Nuggets youngsters as they escape with this victory. But do me a favor, guys. You can follow me on social at Media by AP, and also make sure to like this video and subscribe to your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. That way you guys never miss an episode of your Locked On Nuggets, Buffs, Broncos, and Rockies postcast, all hosted by your boy AP right here on your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. So Denver gets the win, looking to make it 3 in a row with the Thunder coming to town on Wednesday. Should be a good one. I'll be live after the game for that, and we'll have a good time, hopefully a victory show. But that's it for me tonight, folks. Enjoy your night. Appreciate you guys as always, and we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday after the game between the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Cheers, y'all.